Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good.
So, am I pronouncing this right? Straightforward Johnny.
Johnny, yes,
Johnny, it's correct. Jonni Jordyn, JJ,
yes.
aka
And it's Johnny,
JJ.
Johnny with an I and Jordan with a Y.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So, how's your day?
Just
Going well
starting
so far? Just started, yeah. What's the time at the moment where
at
you are?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Yeah, definitely getting started. Yours getting started, mine is coming to a conclusion.
Yes, we're a world apart.
Yeah. Don't you just love this new era, this new digital era, how we can all just connect from all over the world?
It's amazing that not only we can, but how well it works.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But thanks for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome to it.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm extremely intrigued by your writing. And I'm going to tell you why, because I am fascinated about the world of magic, dark powers, spirituality, black magic, witchcraft. Like, I'm fascinated about that world. Like, I know your content, your books, can be labeled as fiction, the story itself, but all of these aspects to your writing does exist in the real world, which,
Yeah,
like,
and
via a dotted line, related nonfiction.
I tried.
Do you agree or
I agree. I tried to find a way in my book to be able to tie all the magic in with the real world, with physics, with what we know about energy and how energy can be transferred.
Yeah. So I mean, we can. I mean, that can be a great like starting point. Before we get into your material, I mean, you have written music, you've written film scripts, poetry. Like you've done it all. Like you were a diverse, talented writer. Done it all. So that could be like a great starting point. The foundation of your career, your life, where it all started for you, what brought it all together. Because I'm sure it was based, as you said, trying to tie it all together based on real life situations that came about actually, writing your series.
Well, I started with music, and it's I had an option: music, writing, acting, uh, and I just thought I was offered an opportunity to play music with some really top notch Latin musicians, and so I took that, and it was very successful for many years. But when I left the West Coast, I I had to find a new avenue for creativity. And I went back to the writing that I've always loved, and these stories just started to come out and started to mature. And so I try to say, well, in my series, magic used to be real, or used people believed magic was real, and it was just of course it's real. And then over time, people started to see it. Well, maybe that's a myth. And I think that's the onset of religion that kind of brought that about. So my approach is, well, let's say it
Yeah, yeah,
was real, and let's say it comes back. What are you going to do?
yeah, yeah. I'm sure, like, like for myself, when you watch Harry Potter for the first time, you're like, nah, but this is just like a good fantasy for kids to watch. But stuff like this, does exist. So I mean, it's probably existed, not probably, it has existed for generations.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. So what made you like, okay, so like myself personally, just more like, about, can you hear me?
I lost your audio for a moment there.
Yes, it's a change. Tends to do this at times. Apologies for that. Can you hear me now? We're good.
Yes. It just went away.
Just give me 2 seconds.
I think we praised technology too soon.
Yeah, technology has its flaws as well. It's not perfect. It's great, but it's not perfect. Yeah, I think that should be it. I'm good. Can you hear me now? Clearly.
I hear you fine.
Okay. So, like with your musical, so as I was saying, I'm like in the music industry myself. Like I run my own independent label. Like with just out of curiosity, like with the music part of your career, like what was the points that made you decide, okay, you know what, this is not something that I want to do like full time, even though it's where I started, and pursue more of a traditional writing career.
Well, I was living in California, and California is going through a recession, which was okay, except it was making me hard to find my other work, which is as an IT professional. And so I ended up moving from the West Coast to middle United States, and that ended my music career, pretty much because everybody that I played with was left behind. So that was my choice. And this was also a time during a recession in the country, and I had to find a new way to work.
Yeah, well, it's understandable, when you have such economic situations. But have you like completely left music, or do you write now and again? Is it something you're so passionate about?
I still have a bunch of pianos scattered around the house. I do sit down and play sometimes, and I'm in contact with my old friends, but the passion's not there anymore. Well, I love the music. I love playing for people, but arguing with managers and fighting with other individuals and staying up late at night, I'm not missing any of that.
But look, I mean, even in 2025, even though a lot has changed and you don't necessarily have to deal with managers anymore, you can do it all yourself, you know how to actually play the game. But yeah, it can become, or still is, very much overwhelming.
Oh dear. Just cut out again.
Can you hear me now?
I heard that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. It just keeps like going by mute automatically and coming back.
I usually do this on one of my computers, but they did an update a few days ago, and I can't get the audio working on my computer. So now I'm on my phone.
Is
So
it?
yeah, they do stuff.
Yeah, they do stuff. Clearly, they do stuff. But see, see, even the screen keeps. But anyway, here we are.
Oh, you're cutting out, back in and out. Do you want to reschedule this?
Okay, let's do it. Can you hear? Yeah, now can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay, I just switched mics, so let's go with that.
Okay.
Then I can figure out afterwards, what's going on. Yeah, apologies for that, but technology out of our control at times.
Well, yeah, and what I said a minute ago about the computer update, with the update, whatever they did, I couldn't use my microphones anymore. I had to go with the built-in mic, which is a little noisy.
And have they gotten back to you or told you why it's doing that?
it's just Windows.
Yeah, when you upgrade and you think, okay, it's going to be better, and then randomly there's a fault afterwards.
Yeah, and in fact, what it was it would be working, and every now and then it'd go just.
Okay, no, okay. At least I got a contingency plan going. I'll switch over to another mic, so that seems to be working for us at the present moment in time. Yeah, is what it is. So yeah, no, as I was concluding on the whole music topic, it's still overwhelming business. As you said, there is late nights. It's very unpredictable. It's financially frustrating. Those are the things that we're dealing with in the independent space. But it's passion that mostly drives myself, drives my team, and we just keep going. We love the beauty, the magic of composing our music and bringing different types of writers, songwriters, producers, engineers together within the space, to give them their opportunities and just let people shine, and see where it goes from there. And I mean, the more technology advances, the more complex, the industry actually becomes, but, at the end of our discussion, I'll bring up the topic of artificial intelligence and get your thoughts on that. So maybe we can jump into your books, your series, the Lost Art of Magic. And so till date, it's a 3-book series at the moment.
There's actually 4.
It's actually 4. Okay.
The fourth one right now is still on pre-order, or it's either imminently being launched.
And the title of the 4th one is?
The Orb of Destiny.
Okay, see, yeah, that's the one I didn't have. So yeah, I got 3, the first 3. So we can touch on the 3, how it led up from 1 to 3, and then you can let the listeners know what to expect in 4. So I mean, you can go for it. The foundation of it, how it came about, and the topic of magic itself. Like in your book, you mentioned magic. So one of the questions I can ask is like, what is magic? And then, of course, our main character now is Destiny.
I've always been a big fan of the stories of Merlin, and I've read so many books about Merlin and the magic. And his magic was mostly very subtle. In fact, some of his magic today would just be engineering. But I thought about it. Thought, well, why do people, consider that to be mythology now? What happened that made us lose sight of the magic? And so I concocted a reason why magic had energy and why it was lost, and then why in today's time a young 16-year-old girl brings it back, and when she brings it back, other people from the other clans, they feel it come back, but they don't like the fact that her clan has this new magic. So it delves into the fact that some people are just evil, and some people, will do evil things to try to keep things from somebody else and just for themselves. And that's what a lot of the first book deals with. And the second book kind of continues. Actually, it expands on 2 of the stories within the first book, and it introduces a new a nemesis, somebody who has. There's 2 kinds of magic. One's kind of the witchcraft, or the psychic stuff, being able to read the cards, being able to see the future. The other side of magic is people who can do things, bend spoons, move objects, make fire, make lightning. And they're always at war. Thousands of years ago, they were at war. And one of their wars ended up destroying the power so that nobody could draw upon the power of magic for 1,000 years.
Sure.
The third book was actually, the 4th book was actually part of the 3rd book, and it was getting too large, and so I split them. And so that the third book is introducing a new heroine, and then the fourth book is where they're actually finding this lost orb that is going to save their leader.
Right,
I don't want to give away too
much. Of course, we want people to actually purchase the book and read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so far people are enjoying it, and I couldn't be happier to see how many people are absolutely enjoying it. And so, yeah, my goal is to get it into more people's hands so everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. So just out of curiosity, like your audience base, what type of like demographics like are enjoying it the most?
Well, so many people that have read it and are in the business of putting it into a category. They want to call it a YA, a young adult, but young adult, I think, goes just a little bit too young. I have some adult themes in the story, which I use to show how bad the bad people are, how evil they can be, and how badly they mistreat young girls. And so I don't find it appropriate for the younger audience, but 14 and 15, I think you're getting into an area where girls should be aware of this.
Do you want to elaborate more on that? Like, why specifically that age group?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to elaborate like more on that, like that specific age group with girls, or like why you feel they should be like
Yeah.
more aware of the
The
specific topic?
traditional, I think the traditional thought of young adult is starting like age 12. And I think there are some harsh assaults in the book that aren't appropriate for a 12-year-old, but might be appropriate for a 14 or 15-year-old.
Right. So it has like nothing specifically actually to do, with regards to the topic of like magic and dark powers itself, or why
No.
people should actually, be like aware of it. Should people be aware of it? Should people understand more of the difference between, good and bad or evil?
I hope everyone understands the difference between good and bad. And that is what I try to portray in these books. Also, a little bit portraying how, to some degree, men have always been shown as the aggressors, as the evils. But as the book progresses, we have a woman, a girl who becomes the dominant evil person, trying to, lead to world domination.
Yeah. This reminds me of the movie, and there's also like a second part to it that was released recently, with 3 witches or 4 witches, to come from this bloodline, the descendants of witches like from back in the day.
Yeah.
So they also like show that dominant power, within the movie and within the world itself. So it's like a good
yeah, descendants are everywhere. And I define the power as being something that is well, it's like a battery, has a positive and a negative side, and that's where the energy comes from. And I define in my books that there are 2 clans of magic users, and between them is this power. And so when they get together, that's when they feel this power. And the more of them there are in the world, the more the power is.
Makes sense. So, okay, so you're on book 4. How far are you hoping to get with the series?
I plan one more book.
So 5. Rounded off to 5.
Book 4, it resolves the heroine, because she has let's call it a disastrous outcome from one of the books. And book 4 it resolves what happens to her. And book 5 is going to be about these mysterious people, these librarians that pop in and out of people's lives. And so that'll be the final one that explains everything that I just said about where the magic came from.
Okay, so we can expect a book 5 also. So with your writing career in general, besides this magic, the series that you got going on, is there any other content that you are working on or would want to work on?
I have several other coming out. I do have a series of books about science, about artificial intelligence, and about a virus that got released into the internet community. And I am working on the third and final book of that series. I've just released my second rom-com, which is just a fun little book. One of them's in ancient time, and one of them's in future time.
Wow.
I have another book about life, prehistoric life, and so I kind of have a range of genres that I have written in.
So on the topic of artificial intelligence, and let's link it up with your writing itself and your book. How do you feel about the topic?
Well, as a developer myself, I dabbled in rudimentary artificial, nothing like what we have going on today, like ChatGPT. I did very early stuff where I wrote programs that were able to follow a person's responses and predict their next response. For instance, I wrote a program that played rock, paper, scissors, and it was able to tell by the way you played. It was able to, as time went on, it got better and better, and it could beat you. Things like that. So the actual book that I wrote was based on a program that I wrote to do genetic experimentation, and so the book is about the ability to write a program that can work like genetics, in the fact that you have you might have several dozen offspring, as a fish might have, or well, probably fish is probably the best one to have that many, and they're all a little bit different. But if you genetically control their breeding, you can create a specific breed. Well, I have the computer doing that in computer terms.
Wow. I've just got like this, so many thoughts like running through my mind about it. So when you say, versus what's out there today, what's your thoughts on currently what's out there today? Do you see there's something that's beneficial to the world, beneficial to creators such as yourself, or do you see it as a threat?
There's a lot of benefit that can be had from artificial intelligence to be able to analyze a set of occurrences and understand. For instance, for decades we've been trying to predict volcanoes or some very destructive natural things. I think it's possible with artificial intelligence to look at more variables that are leading up to a volcano and eventually predict them. That would be a good outcome. In my writing, I do not use artificial intelligence to create my books. I will use a little AI to help me edit them, to help me find spots that I use the wrong word. Yeah, like two words that sound the same and spelled differently. I might use them, and AI has been very good at catching those. But no, I want the music that I create, even though I will use computers to create that music. I don't want the computers to create. I want to be the creative soul. And the same with my books.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of authors and people who do writing, who do use artificial intelligence to, do the editing for them. My point of view on the topic is that artificial intelligence is something that's going to be extremely beneficial to the creative space, no matter which, component you fall under. You just have to be extremely responsible about it. And
Yes.
then versus creators out there, for example, who are musicians, but also have motivation, inspiration to also become an author, to, let their audience who are listening to the music, and especially, activists within the independent music space who are here to empower and motivate as they move along with their life. They also want to write material. And their point is, okay, look, I'm going to type something. I'm not a professional author. I don't know anything about editing. And, but they're transparent to say, okay, look, I am using Chat GPT or any other AI tool to actually, compose this book for me. I'm just doing the rough draft of it, and I'm going to let AI do the rest. And AI is also going to coach me along the way, which also has been working, well for people who don't have, writing or is an author as like a primary job or objective in their career. So, there's many ways to go about it, be responsible, be transparent with your audience that, look, I have used artificial intelligence to put this material together. That's, just building that intimate relationship with the audience as well, and letting them know that, look, I am human. But there's also people out there that are just, using it to get rich quick. There's
Yeah.
platforms that can compose an ebook within 5 minutes, and all you have to do is you can just, publish it on Kindle, and boom, it's out there in the market and it's out for sale. But there's no real passion behind it. So
Right.
passion should always be like your driving force.
It's and your description is absolutely on spot, because it can be a valuable tool for writing nonfiction by somebody who's a subject matter expert but not a writer. And in the nonfiction space, I think, if you're writing a book about mathematics, if you're writing a book about guitar repair, it could help you do that. But in the fiction space, where you have people who can go out there and churn out a new romance every other day, I just don't think it's appropriate.
Every second day, new romance story, Next thing you know, you have a 20-book series.
Yeah.
That's what you've created. Completely lost the plot altogether. Yeah, no, okay. It's good that I get, the opinion in like each author that I have come onto the show. It's one of the most trending topics, moving, from 2025 onwards, on how they feel about it. Is there a decline in motivation to be an author in this day and age? That is why I bring it up. And I asked the question to also motivate, other creators out there that listen to the podcast, that no matter what form of creative you are, if you are driven by passion and, you're passionate, truly passionate, it's coming from the heart, that makes you do what you do, don't give in. And we're not saying, look, don't use artificial intelligence or don't stay in the loop about what's happening with technology. As I said again, use it responsibly and keep yourself in a loop. Use the tools, experiment. Don't get left behind, but still add that organic touch to your work.
Yeah.
That count for 80-90% of your work.
Even before artificial intelligence, there were issues coming into the world of writing and publishing that, with the advent of Amazon, anybody could write and publish a book. So there was an increasing flood of books being released that maybe shouldn't have. That the author didn't have that writing spark, that driving force and the talent to really put it together. But they write it and they go, oh, there's my book, and they publish it. And
yeah.
I say, well, in a sense, good for them. They could do that, but it's flooding the market with a lot of books and making it harder to be able to pick out those books that are coming from somebody with a little more at stake in what they're writing. So it's
100%.
artificial intelligence just made it easier for them.
100%. So, with regards to your career itself, I'm just going to connect the dots here from what you just said. Are you fully independent with regards to your work? Like, do you self-publish or do you have a publisher?
I am self-publishing, but I have a publicist, a team of publicists actually, and I have gone the route of finding a publisher, and what I have found is the world has changed. That publishers aren't looking for the next good book; they're looking for the next money-making book, and
Content.
it's hard to do that in the fiction space. You send out hundreds of copies to agents, and they go, "Oh, this is really good, but it doesn't fit my catalog." They want, they're looking for something that's more spicy because spicy romances sell and make money.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm independent.
I love that. Love sells. Romance
It does.
sells. That's a good one. I mean, okay, you are 100% correct about that. The same works all across the entertainment industry. I mean, even with the music industry in this day and age, your mainstream record labels, they're not looking for, the most talented musician or songwriter or vocalist that is out there in the industry, that is
They're
singing
not.
and writing from their heart. They are looking for the artist now. I mean, if a record label calls you in today, okay, if they do call you in, it's a long stretch, but if they do call you in today, they've already viewed your social media following. They are checking, they have already checked how many views you've had. They're not even going to look at, okay, have you released music yet? You got a demo or so on, or you're doing some, you've released like a demo on TikTok or something, or you've done a cover of, a Taylor Swift or Beyonce. They're checking for that, and if you are like, killing it at that now and you have the thousands, millions of views, they're calling you in because you are going to sell. You already got the following. The moment they release, your first single or your first album, you already have the audience for them to sell the music, to sell the merchandise to sell the concert tickets to. That's what they're looking for now.
Yeah. If I have a book that sells, I don't know, 50,000 or 100,000 copies, they're going to be really interested in publishing my book. But at that point, I'm like, who needs you? I'm doing fine. And
exactly.
it's in the music industry. Yeah, in the music industry, they well, it's like if you're playing live, and there's so many places out there, small clubs and large clubs that are saying, "Hey, we're only going to give you, a little bit of money. You're doing this for the exposure." And now, in my case, I was playing in a band that was 20 years old. They had huge, huge hits in the 70s. We didn't need exposure. We just needed to, to be able to continue and tour in some of the big clubs. But it's hard, even when you have a name, even when you have brand recognition and a hit song. It's hard to get out there and get them to, pay an 11-piece band enough to drive down there and do a show.
100%. 100%. So, I mean, okay, your traditional publishers will come, with a marketing budget to promote and, market your content. As an independent self-publisher, what has worked for you in this new age? Being independent.
I've had very little that had worked for me. up until recently. I had tried releasing, writing a book and releasing a chapter every month. And I started to gain a following, and it was growing and growing and growing. And then one month, it just stopped. It went to zero. It didn't decline. It just went all the way to zero. And the only way that can happen is if Amazon changed something in the way they're promoting my books. And by the way, it was a short time later, they came out with this thing they call Vela, where they let you, release chapters, little bits at a time. I guess they thought it was a good idea. They recently, very recently, ended that. But so that was my chief success in the writing realm, which is why after 10 years, I decided I'm going to go all in, and I've hired a publicist. I'm paying them more money than I would pay for a car, and I'm hoping at some point to see some success from that.
Yeah, can imagine. But I mean, it gets you on, it takes away like all the nitty-gritty stuff, of promoting your work, where you can just like concentrate on writing itself.
Absolutely.
That's
as a child, I was no good at candy sales or cookie sales or whatever things we were trying to do to promote our school. I just wasn't good at selling, and that hasn't changed. I'm not a salesperson. I write my books.
Yeah, no. Yeah. No, it works. I mean, as you said, you're paying a publicist like the same amount or more, for paying for a car. One thing, we attempt to focus on, on our end is for the creators that, can't afford a publicist, for example. What means and tools, are available to actually use, it's going to cost you time, it's going to cost you money, or it's going to cost you both to grow your career once you decide for yourself, look, I'm going all in.
Yeah. Right now, well, at least in America, we are going through an upheaval about social media. TikTok was turned off for 12 hours. It's turned back on. We kind of have this feeling it was turned back on with additional invisible filters and bots that are patrolling what we write. So we used to all be on TikTok. That was the author domain, and I was building up a reputation on TikTok, but we don't know where that's going because politics. So the best way to get your books out there and to get known is to become big on social media, but you got to find the one that's going to work for you, that's going to last. I'm still searching.
Yeah, no, you're right. Once again, it was a time in my life as well, where I was like just trying out different platforms. As a new platform, got launched or got released or was still in beta stage. I was there and I was trying it out, and not just your social media platform, but also like your different DSPs with regards to music. And then you reach a stage where you're like, okay, you know what? Like I was on TikTok as well once upon a time. And then I was also, doing reels on Instagram and then also like on Facebook. And then I came to a conclusion, okay, TikTok is not really working out for me and I don't really enjoy it as much, compared to the millions of people out there that actually adore it. It wasn't for me. I reached a stage and I'm like, okay, I don't even think I closed my account. I just left,
Yeah.
I just left because I was more passionate about doing it on Instagram, and I was more passionate about doing it on Facebook. That was working more, for me. It was more beneficial for me to keep my presence online. So I'm in agreement with you once again, throughout this conversation that you need to try different platforms. Okay, this works for me. This doesn't work for me. Eliminate. Focus on this, because you don't want all your time to be invested in marketing and social media as
right.
as creative. imagine.
For some people, email works.
Yeah, exactly. The traditional way works as well. But it's also good to also keep a balance so you can keep like an organic relationship, with, in my case, listeners, in your case, readers as well. So if you can have the, book show or book tour now and again, or if you're an artist, okay, I'm going to go out and perform now and again where my audience is at, you need to do those things. You also need to build that intimacy with your audience.
Yeah.
Let them see you, I'm real. I'm not a bot, I wasn't made on a computer. I'm real, I'm a real author.
And networking with other authors and finding those conferences that you can go to and network with other people. That's us also. You can also learn a lot about what's working for them. It's a jungle out there in being independent, and I mean even in entrepreneurship, we have huge corporations purchasing everybody with an idea. It's hard these days to make it alone, but we're in a creative space, and creativity is where everything starts. So there's got to be that world out there where we can put our creations and find an audience with them. You froze for a second. Are you okay?
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. I think it happened both ways. I froze, then you froze, on your side, towards me. But no, you're great. What you say? It's when it comes to it being an independent, so any form of creative, like I work on an 80-20 rule. Yeah, and 80%, being an independent, and this is just something, that's worked for me, is you need to be an entrepreneur within that space. As you brought up the word, and 20% is actually on the product that you're actually pushing out to market. And this trend came along because of the need to actually like financially sustain yourself in the long run and to live off your career as an artist or as a writer. And if you don't understand the economy of the business itself, you're not going to sustain yourself. It's like, can you really, from a music point of view, depend on streams on Spotify or Apple Music? No, you can't. You're not going to make it. From an author's point of view, and you can share, on this, can you depend on just book sales alone, being an independent?
I hope so.
You like if we all want to like get to that stage, where we can. I guess we do also, but I feel like there has to be like, once again, you have to branch out into different components where you have to do like, okay, the tours, or where can I get like an endorsement deal, those sort of things to actually sustain long term.
Yeah,
being an independent.
And then there's Hollywood.
Then there's Hollywood.
Are you listening, Hollywood?
Yeah. I'm not sure if in the traditional publishing companies, as a writer, if you get signed on, do they still give you like an advance? Do they still do that? I know some don't. There's different deals, there's different structures that I gathered also, with other interviews.
I think it's the same in the music world. Is if you have an established product, they will offer you an advance. And I've always recommended to all my musician friends, don't accept the advance, because they could change their mind and want it back. Or you could maybe not produce what they want by their schedule and they'll want it back. So no, I won't deal in advances.
100%. Or they're just going to keep you on, and bulk of the income is going to go to them. Keep in mind, when the money comes back in, they're still going to take the money for all the fees that took us to market. They're going to deduct all that first. You're going to have taken 16% of royalties, whether it be music or whether it be the books. They're going to take 16%. So you're going to get 16%. They're going to hold bulk, and they still going to have all the ownership rights to the material.
And you have to hope that they're honest.
Yeah.
Well, in the Audible book world, there are so many questions about, are they taking advantage of artists? I paid a lot of money to have one of my books read, and she did a wonderful job. It's gorgeous, but then the Audible world gets into this. Well, we're letting people have it on because they're club members, and you're not necessarily getting points or money off of those listens. So
yeah,
there's questionable practices.
Yeah. From what you said so far about all the investments that you've actually made till date, it just proves, how committed you are towards your material and your career.
Yeah, in fact,
and the Magic series, you committed to the Magic series, like you believe in your product, you believe in what you're writing, you believe in what you're pushing out to market, and there's
to use a poker term, I've gone all in. I'm retirement age, and I'm going to retire from my job, so I have gone all in an effort to make the whole my entire collection of books, to make them start to work for me.
Yeah. So with the Magic, calling it the Magic series, like, where after the 5th book is released, do you have ambitions, goals, or do you want to put something or blueprint together to actually take, the story to Netflix, to TV, or maybe start creating your own videos for YouTube with a link to the story?
I don't. What I have done is I've created some music, which I intend to use on the Audible book, but I have not really entered in any business plans or thoughts. I might lean on my publicist to see if they have some ideas, but that's why I hired them.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Yeah, no, because it's become sort of wouldn't say all. Beck, are you there?
I'm here. I'm not sure I understood what I thought. I'm not sure you finished your sentence. What?
The screen went a bit black on your end, but anyway, a lot like have this, not just with like writing material or their books, like even with music now, like I even started one of my own projects where I've like turned it into like a musical series. But I also have like the storyline behind it where it like, actually can go to television or can go online and become like, a movie or a series one day. It's just out there, something I'm just testing, in the waters to see what can come of it musically first. But, these authors who want to take their work, they want to transfer it into like a video, for people who don't have the ability to actually read or really understand like an Audible, at the moment for viewing purposes. So, those are cool ideas to actually look at, depending on which clientele, you actually want to reach out to. But yeah, leave it up to the publicist. But I hope that is one of the ideas that they have, for you down the pipeline, even though you don't want to put in the hard work, like, let them do it. You do it. If you think that's going to work, okay, you go and do that. But that could work well with the Magic series, like if you're to ask me.
I think so.
Especially like authors that have a series. Yeah.
As the year goes on, I want to see if I see a swell of new readers. I'm releasing a new book every 6 weeks. I'm not writing them that fast. These are the books I've written over the last 12 years, and I've taken them all off the market, and I'm putting them all on my new publishing imprint and releasing them every 6 weeks. So I'm hoping there will be some growth of readership. Otherwise, I'm just going to retire and depend on my fiance.
let's just be extremely optimistic and not, we hope. Let's just be like, you will get the readers. I mean, for someone who's invested so much time, energy, money, passion, love for what they do, you deserve it.
Thank you. I'm
You
hoping.
deserve it. Yeah, you definitely deserve it. So with regards for like people finding you online, where can they find you? Are you on social media? Do you have a website?
I do have a website. It's Jordyn at Large Books. But it's also very easy to find me on Amazon. If you just go into Amazon and search for Jonni Jordyn, Jonni space Jordyn, it'll bring up all the books that are available now and all the books that are up for pre-order.
100%. And are you on any social media platforms?
I am on TikTok. We'll see how long that lasts. But I'm on TikTok as Jonni_Jordyn.
Perfect. So is that the only social media platform that you're on at the moment?
I'm on Blue Sky, but I can't remember what my name is on Blue Sky. I'm not terribly active.
In quite some time.
I mean, I'm there. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook, but I'm not really actively pushing the books on any of those platforms.
Yeah.
I don't even understand Instagram or Snapchat. I'm on them, but I haven't really figured out the interface. I'm too old for that. That's what they say.
Yeah.
This is my granddaughter said.
I wasn't also a fan of Snapchat. Maybe you should hire. That'll be a good business move. That'll be a good strategy. Hire your granddaughter. Yeah, promote my work. Go for it.
I think I asked her and she declined.
Did you offer her money? Did you offer her money or you told her to do it out of love?
No, it wasn't out of love. I think I offered her a percentage.
A percentage. In future royalty shares. Future royalty shares. That was yeah. Believe it or not, that's actually an agreement. In the entertainment world, it's actually an agreement that someone can offer someone. It's there. Look, I don't have the money to give you upfront. I don't know when I'm going to have the money to give you upfront. But for life of rights, yeah, you got 10% of my work, of royalties.
Yeah.
There you go. I guess, when it comes to books, it's more like straightforward. You can correct me if I'm wrong. With music, you have your master shares, you have your publishing shares, so you can choose which shares you actually want to offer someone. With regards to a book, the different types of shares, I'm just asking, out of curiosity,
There are different agreements where I can get different percentages, and there's also since I'm doing most of the work, I'm creating the book, I'm formatting the book, and it's ready to go. I'm basically looking at printers and distribution, and some of them offer a very good package that's less lucrative, and some offer a very lucrative package that may not meet as many people. So that's the only differences I've seen personally.
No, thanks for
sometimes
sharing.
Sometimes I look at what they're offering and I go, I can't possibly make any money off of that.
Yeah. 100%. You have to take the deal that's going to work best for you.
Yeah. And best being either I'm getting either I'm getting money or I'm getting more readers. Those are the two things I'm looking for.
Yeah. I mean, it has to complement your overall career, at a macro. It has to fit in with your agenda, and what you have planned for your career.
Looking for growth.
You have to look at all those points. Yeah, you have to look at those points. Definitely. Well, thanks for sharing, that as well, coming from your personal point of view and what you look for that, can assist, anyone out there who's actually confused at the moment, who doesn't know how this all works. Here are the points to actually focus on. Yeah, no, thanks for that. Well, Jonni, it's been very diverse, awesome chat. Is there anything else that you would love to share with the audience?
If you are a budding writer, make sure that you've got that spark, that inner thing that makes you want to write, and that it's not just because you want to have a book out. It's because you have a book that is begging you to write it. One thing I often say is, as I'm writing my books, my characters will often lead me into new directions, and I have to listen to them. As I'm developing them, they're developing the book. But for new young authors, make sure that that's really your passion, and not just a get rich quick scheme, because it's not a get rich quick scheme.
Or to get famous.
Right.
Yeah. So, take away from this, is look, be passionate about what you do. And if it's something that's, speaking to you in the heart, like it's burning in your stomach, your tummy to be an author and write material that really matters,
right.
Go for it. If not, don't bother, don't waste your time, because at the end of the day is you're only going to be killing yourself. And
if not, if books are a passion for you, but writing is not, there are other things to do in the book world. Being an agent, being maybe you're a illustrator and can do covers, but there's lots of other things that you can do and still have your finger in that writing, that publishing realm.
Yeah, 100%.
Same with music.
It's exactly. Got kicked out again. Can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
Yeah.
And I saw that as soon as it went out, you saw it went out.
Yeah. I had a guest a few weeks ago on the music side who, I was so blown away about, what she had to say about us as humans living like in a fantasy world. Like, as you said, you could like reading books, but you don't like writing. It doesn't mean, now I need to become an author just because I like writing books. So stop living like in the fantasy and get back to realization. Be pragmatic about, as you just said, what else can I do? I may love singing, but it is something I'm really passionate about, because in music, you're going to get people that, love the elements, the beat itself, or they love the vocals, or they love both. But there's always something specific in a track, that really gets us going. So maybe you have a passion for the music industry. Doesn't necessarily mean, okay, look, I should become a musician now, or I should become a music producer, or become a vocalist, or become a songwriter. But maybe, as you said, also, there's something else that I can do. I can become an executive. I can be A&R. What can I do?
I always wanted to sing. I wanted to be a singer. But I had to face the fact that nobody wants to hear my voice, and I could, but I can play piano, and so that's what I did very successfully. And I wasn't the front person. I wasn't, getting all as much adulation, but I did get enough. I got recognized on the streets, and as the piano player, it was satisfying.
Yeah. You found your calling, as a pianist, as a songwriter, as writing, music, the composition itself. And you were professional enough to say, you know what, this is what I really am passionate about. This is what I'm good at. This is what I do. And, once it's done, as a songwriter out there today, you would hand over to the guys who are actually going to go to the mic and actually put the vocals out to market.
Right. Know your limitations.
Know your limitations. Exactly. Remove all this about, take ego out of it. Don't be conceited about it. Don't worry about, okay, no, I'm not going to be on the front cover and so on. You can get recognized in many other ways for the work that you do. The main thing is to be passionate and you're actually enjoying what you do. Don't go sing the song because, I want to be on the front cover and I want to be the face behind when you're not actually good at singing.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense and it's not good business.
Now, I did have the experience once after a show. I was wearing a really sharp white suit, and we went out to have a celebratory breakfast at some diner somewhere, and people were coming up to me because I looked like the star. And the actual star came to me later and says, "Don't ever wear that again."
Yeah, that's a good one. You took the spotlight away.
I did.
You took the spotlight. But look, even the guys and girls behind the scene, they also need to get that spotlight once and again.
Yeah.
We have to give it to them. We have to give it to them. We have to give recognition. We have to give credit where it's due. 100%.
Especially the big guy that picks up my piano like this and carries it off stage to the truck. He gets a lot of credit.
Yeah, he needs a lot of credit. He's also, bringing his weight to the table.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Well, Jonni, it's been a pleasure having you on, and I wish you all the best with the Magic series and the launch of the 4th book and the 5th book that, is in the pipeline. And all the other books and work that you're busy with at the moment. Keep doing what you're doing, keep being passionate and keep investing. And I'm going to be really optimistic for you. It will work out. No hopes here. It's a no hope show. It will work out.
Okay,
thank you for your contribution to the creative space overall. Yeah.
I'm going to take that as a little magic. I'm going to take it as a little magic coming from you.
Yeah, it's magic. Yeah, that's magic. Yeah. The I will show, And
I will remember you when I get there.
But yeah, that's it. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, once again, all the best.
You too. It was nice talking to you. Thank you.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Bye.